Like, it's making fun of me for wanting my trash when it is trash. Like, just give me good trash. Is that too much to ask? Sometimes I can't tell if I like coffee. But other times it tastes really good. Hello YouTube, my name's Marie. Today we are finally doing another K-drama review, being full series review of I Married an Anti-Fan. I know the series finished quite a while at this point, and to be honest, I didn't watch it in time with everybody else, so even when I actually finished it, I was so late, and now this review is so late. But it's the only K-drama I've actually finished in the last like month or so. So I want to talk about it, and I want to talk about it with you guys. So before we even get started, you guys, I want to preface this whole video by saying that this is my own personal opinion. That's all my reviews ever are, so if you disagree, that's totally fine. This isn't a reflection of you and your taste, it's a reflection of me and my tastes. What is I Married an Anti-Fan about? Our female lead is a journalist who gets entangled with a male idol. She ends up throwing her shoe at him one night and having a bit of a confrontation. A lot of misunderstandings happen in the beginning of their relationship, results in her actually being fired from her position as a journalist, and she blames everything on him. And not to say he's not responsible, but it's just a really messy situation where I think they both didn't act like adults. But it really starts to kick off once a reality show approaches both of them and say, you know, we want to do this program where you two essentially get married. Like, you'll live in the same house and you'll spend all this time together, and it'll be about the idol trying to like win over his anti-fan. You see what I'm saying here? You know, eventually they both agree, because how could they not? We need our story. And shenanigans and romance, misunderstandings, and ridiculousness ensue. So I know this is not a first impression video, but my very first impression of this show that did stick with me is that I don't think it was made by people who really respect their audience, and not so much respect their audience in the way I generally talk about it. Like, if you watch my previous video of like K-drama recommendations if you loved my mister, I speak about respecting your audience as like smart writing, about like believing that your viewers will be able to connect the dots. Not really what I'm talking about here. Here, I feel like there's certain demographics that a show is trying to go for, and this one is really going for people who like trash. Like, be honest, okay? I love trash. There are times where I need good trash, and there's good trash and bad trash, okay? But I feel like this show went for that demographic. It went for people who really like, you know, campy trash. But the thing is, I didn't feel like the production or like the writers or the director even, like, I don't feel like it respected the audience that it was trying to go for. Like, there were so many parts of, I would say, the first quarter of the series where it would very obviously make fun of that kind of media in a way that was supposed to be really self-aware. But I just kept thinking, like, you're trying to be so self-aware, but that's what you are. Okay, I don't know if I'm explaining my point very well here, but what I'm trying to say is that it was making fun of these aspects, like, or tropes of the genre, but in a way that didn't feel very good-natured to me. Like, it wasn't laughing with us, it was more laughing at us, at the people who enjoy campy trash, if that makes any more sense. It felt weird. So that was my first initial thought. Like, it's making fun of me for wanting my trash when it is trash. Like, just give me good trash. Is that too much to ask? So now let's talk about the plot. And I have major issues with this plot. I don't think it fully realized anything that it set out to do. I think the main antagonist wasn't fully realized either. Like, there is one character which is like the second male lead, and okay, we're already getting into some light spoilers, so maybe I will just call this a spoiler review, but he is the true anti-fan in the end. Like, if you watch the whole thing, like his progression and his story, like he's the one that is truly both our male lead's anti-fan and then also the second female lead's anti-fan. Like, he's the anti-fan, but they don't really treat him and like that enough. Like, there's one confrontation near the end, like the climax for our secondary characters, between him and the second female lead, because they've had a romance and it's been really toxic, and their like final confrontation was one of the best moments of the show. Like, that is a highlight for me. And then also when there was like our female lead, like her file got leaked and like the media got a hold of it. I thought that whole sequence of like our characters not knowing what's going on and being bombarded by the media, I thought that was really well executed. Those are my two only highlights, was that scene and then like our secondary characters having their final conflict before she, you know, tries to kill herself. Like, if they had leaned more heavily into him, and like he could have still like been like a an underlying villain until the end, but like I think the time that we spent trying to figure out who our male lead's father was totally wasted, and had no interest in that plot line. And I could tell from the very beginning, as soon as they mentioned it, I'm like, this is gonna be in our finale when they don't know what else to fill time with. Like, that's what we're gonna focus on, and I was not looking forward to it. So I wish that we had dropped that completely and focus more on our secondary cast a little bit, because they have so much to offer, and the entire cast, their acting is really good. Acting by far is what made a lot of the characters more likable and more enjoyable for me. Like, I definitely bonded with our male and female leads, not so much because I found their characters very compelling, but the acting was quite good. So yeah, I definitely think this cast would have been able to handle a darker storyline. And I know that that's not what they were really going for, because again, this show is going for trash. But it's just really frustrating when you can see like the seeds being planted, or you can see the potential and it never goes there. It's like, it's just so frustrating. And then another thing that was so frustrating to me about the plot is how they really made light dangerous situations between idols and their fans. Like, there's two situations where a fan is behaving inappropriately, really putting our main cast into harm's way, where the police should have been involved and they were not, and it was played off as nothing big. And in the end, these characters, again, we're talking spoilers, so I might as well say, you know, the younger fan who like eventually breaks into the suite and then they develop a relationship, like they drive her home and all that stuff. Like, she was essentially rewarded for that behavior by being allowed to spend time with her idol. Like, they really should have just called the cops. And she's like a tiny like high schooler. I really don't believe that our female lead could not have like dragged her out of the house or like done something to restrain her. Like, it like at no point was I like, oh, she's in the house now, I guess she has to stay. Like, what? No, what? So that really frustrated me, and I can easily tell you a new way to get that character involved. So instead of like her breaking in and basically being like a sasaeng, she could have easily won a contest or something. Like, they could have formed a relationship with a younger fan in a different way than her like physically breaking in. And like, there were moments with that character in the plot that I didn't feel like ever came to fruition. Like that one scene where they're like throwing eggs at our female lead, and then she finally like, just don't post any pictures, like I don't want my mom to see. I'm like, oh, Oh, that actually got me too, and it's just like, nothing ever came from that. So not only did this character like break into the suite, but she's also been violent with our female lead before. It's just like, I can't understand how someone wouldn't call the cops. And then the other situation was when the male fan like kidnapped our male lead to then use him to help like propose to his girlfriend. Like, it's just these actions that shouldn't be allowed to go unpunished were rewarded in the end. Like, the characters got what they wanted with no repercussions, and it made no sense. Like, none. Especially a show that's like titled I Married an Anti-Fan. Like, I really thought we were gonna have a little bit more of a discussion on like fandom culture. Again, maybe I'm asking too much from my trash, because I know a lot of people did like this show, so maybe it's a little bit of an unpopular opinion of mine, but I think it could have gone so much farther, especially because the actors are talented. If the actors weren't talented, then I think I could give sloppy writing a pass, because it's like, that's the level you're operating at. Okay, so lastly, I'm gonna talk about how everything like was wrapped up way too neatly in the end. Like, the final episode, every single character that ever like wronged our female lead in any sort of way like ended up apologizing, or there's some sort of like reconciliation happening. Like, it was just, everything got tied up into this perfect neat little bow that was so unnecessary. Okay, I guess I have to talk about the romance before I go, because I don't feel like our pair had enough chemistry. I'm just disappointed. Like, the more I think about the show, the more disappointed I get, the more I really feel like they dropped the ball. That's not to say I didn't enjoy watching it, because after a 10-hour shift at work, you know what I wanted to come home and watch? I Married the Anti-Fan. So my overall rating for I Married an Anti-Fan is only gonna be 2 out of 5 stars. I debated giving it like a 2.5, like nice and easy down the middle, or maybe even a 3, because there were so many moments where I did just enjoy the viewing process. But I can't in good conscience give it a 2.5 or a 3. There's way too many issues with the show and with the writing. So please let me know down below, have you guys seen I Married an Anti-Fan? What did you think about it? So you guys, that's everything from me. I hope you have a good day and a good night. Bye!